Good afternoon, boys and girls. It's a nice Sunday afternoon, and I decided to stream a bit earlier today, so in the afternoon actually, and not in the evening. Main reason is that I want to recover some of the time, because yesterday actually I didn't stream and Friday I didn't. So, but I did some work meanwhile. Not too much, but I just had some exchanges with the other developers and started to plan our next step. So the main part that we miss at the moment are the player animations and player characters that we have to import from the old game for now, and then we will improve them as we go. And Zwei is working on that. He's doing a pretty good job on that, and he progressed quite a bit. And I know that yesterday he checked in many fixed characters and animation, so we may check that today as well. But let's just go back to what was our mission in the last few days. I would say in the last week. I did a lot of updates and a lot of fixes here and there in the code, so actually this mission has been diverted a bit. I managed to do a lot of changes to the way we send messages to the client, some error messages, some info messages, and also I did some other let's say general fixes to the code. So that's been good. I've been checking in that in the last few days. But our main mission actually was to complete the player-to-player exchange, which is something that we've been working on since some time. Let's say a few days, yes. And you can see it on the list, on the page, on the screen, the different tasks that we have. So we wanted to, we did some fixes. These first two actually were some fixes, not particularly related to exchange window, but then we had an issue to refresh the inventory when moving item to the exchange window, and that is actually done properly now. And then we had some issue about the slots numbering, like the different slots were numbered improperly, and so we had to fix that, and that is now fixed. And then we just reviewed this UI, trying to understand if this UI was good enough for us to be used in the exchange, and yes it is. So we have a UI already with the receive and the give, so it should be fine. And then yeah, what we want to do, what I was doing, it was this one. So to add an in-context menu, which was actually opening up the exchange window. So that is actually done at the moment. The point is that it should not really, so the context menu we have, right? The context menu we have, but there is a bit more we need to do before actually porting the full code. So I think this one is fine, but then we need to check, we need to understand exactly how, so we need to send a kind of a confirmation message to the player that it needs, that wants to trade with. So send request, let's say send request message exchange, let's call it exchange request message, change exchange request message to the target player. So basically when you ask someone to trade, it doesn't trade automatically, but so the window doesn't pop up automatically, but the first thing that you see is a trade exchange request. So I don't remember exactly how this was done in the old code, so we will have to check that, but I think there is probably a specific message, and this is what we have to investigate, right? So to see how to request the confirmation from the other character that he actually wants to trade. So that's the point. I think it should be inside Exchange Manager. Let me go and search for it, okay? Should be under Server Exchange Manager somewhere. There should be a message. I don't know if it's generic on Exchange Manager, but handle exchange request. Yeah, I think it should be this one probably. Yes. So handle exchange request. You see, so he's actually, what he's doing is creating a new message and then he's calling start exchange. Okay. I think this start exchange we already have. Yeah, it is. You see here there is this piece of code. It is the one that we have to convert. Basically, is this part. So let's go in our Real Engine version of the code and let's search for this one. I think we will be in good shape. So there is the code. And basically the give is for NPCs and the trade is with players. Let me just expand this a bit. Must be, let's say must be because it's not is. Right? So targets must be an NPC and target must be a player. So this is the difference of the two commands. So this command we already completed, the one with the NPC, but we are missing the one with the player. So you see that here is sent. So the first thing we need to convert are these error messages, because definitely these are not correct. These are still old code, so we need to go and and take this one and see, was it one liner or was it two line? Yeah, it's one liner. So one liner is very easy. We just take this, we send it to the client, and we just convert to this message, and is okay. So this one is actually now working properly, and the same we should do down here. Then we can also read the Y. Okay, so at the moment I'm not reading the code, but I can read it and see what is going on. So yeah, basically here it must be a player. I mean, if he's an NPC, it gives an error to the player that he must target another player. And this one is if you are trying to trade with yourself, so you have yourself selected and you are issuing the trade command. In this case will be a command line, because obviously by context right click it will not be possible, but it's just by command line. So if it does it in command line, then it comes here. Then it's checking if the target is frozen. Okay. So this one we already converted, so in this case is sending out a message info. Okay, nice. And I don't know exactly what he's doing here. Yes, he's checking if he's already in another trade. So this one also we need to convert. You can pick up blah blah blah. Oh, wait, I'm doing something wrong. I need to copy this. Okay, and this one is also sent to client. So the client is busy with another trade. So basically that is the way to check that all the preconditions are met, and so that everything is running as expected, so that there are no blockers, let's say, to this. Now after this we must ask the other player before starting the trade. Here it is. It is what I was searching for. So let's see how he's doing it. So he's actually sending out, he's creating a new pending trade invite, which is derived from pending question, and is sending in the question itself, like, do you want to trade with, and the client name. Okay. Actually this getchar full name is not correct. We need to have getchar full name, client getchar full name, because otherwise getchar full name, I think this one is the function that we should use. Okay. Yeah, also these ones are not correct. So this one should be getchar full name. Okay, fine. Now the problem is that here we are creating this pending invite trade, which we have to analyze a bit because I don't remember exactly how it works, but is basically a pending question to the client, like a yes/no response. Yes, and is, yeah, there are some possibilities here already predefined, and there is an handle answer when the answer is coming back. Yes, anyway, we should use all of this. I think all this code is good because it's already outlining, you know, all the cases, and you see that it's already checking for the different states of our players, so I think it's perfectly fine. The only problem is that I'm trying to understand when he was sending it. Here it is. He was sending it like this: question manager, send question. I think we can reuse the same one, but instead of using this PS question message, we can just have a normal RPC. Yes. He's creating also an event to cancel the question after some time, which I think is a very good idea, so that it doesn't stay there forever. So he schedules an event, so we have to convert this as well. Okay, so the first conversion we need to do is this message, this PS question message, which for us it will become kind of a receive question message on player controller, which has these parameters. There is also a question type, which means that we have to convert this question type to an Unreal Engine enumeration, otherwise it will not go through RPC. What is this? General confirm, secret guild notification. Why we need to know this? No idea. I don't know why we need this really. Anyway. So it's like it's like creating an enumeration for this thing. This one was defined. Where was this defined? In messages.h. So it was a kind of a generic, you know, generic question. I think we can put it on. We can put it in players maybe directly. We can put it in player character, and because these are all questions that you are executing on your character, or we can put it on one manager, but I don't know exactly which could be the manager that makes more sense. Maybe PS server char. No, question. Well, we have question manager though. Yeah, let's put it on question manager. Absolutely. Yeah, question manager is perfect. So I think we will create here a new enumeration. The only point is that we have to create it as an unreal enumeration. So I don't remember by heart the syntax, and I don't want to do mistakes. So let's just let me just copy paste it. So you have to put this enum blueprint type, and then it has to be enum class, and then it needs to be oops, uint8, and then each line must have a specific value, and then the u meta display name. Okay, so I think we can just copy. So it will be like general confirm, and then we can just maybe tab or something, and yeah, put it like here, and then we will have u meta display name general confirm with this message as well. So oops, what happened? Okay, so that is fine. Now we should do the same for all the others. Okay, so basically now basically now there is a real Unreal Engine enumeration that we can use in blueprints, and so this means that it can also go through RPC when we are sorry, it's a bit of a mess in indentation. Okay, so this one we can now use, which is nice. And the rest I don't think we need much more, because at this point we can use the pending question, we can use the pending thread invite, I think so. So this will stay as it is because it's still good. The only point is that we need to check when it does send the question. Instead of that, we need to create a new message. Okay, IntelliSense doesn't want to cooperate. We have to create a new message under Planeshift Player Controller, and this will be a blueprint implementable event. Yes, because we want to trigger it from the code and send it to our client. Right. So let me see where we have other. Yeah, we have like quite a number. So banking, I think we have a section for exchange already, no? We should have storage window, merchant window, stats and skills, inventory and exchange. There it is. Okay, so inside of this we can put a new function which we call, I think we can take exactly the description that we have here, which is yeah, must ask blah blah blah, must ask the other player before starting the trade, or we can say just asks the other player before starting the trade, to start the trade, to start a confirmation to start the trade. Okay, so maybe it can be another player. Okay, at this point we need, yes, something like this, new function implementable event. I think we can keep it in the correct category inventory, is fine because it's all related to exchanging items. And we can I mean, void has to be void. We can call it receive, what it was called, send message, no, send question, no, receive. I think we can call it exchange question or exchange confirmation. Or exchange request, maybe. Receive exchange request. So this receive exchange request or trade request. Maybe we can have trade instead of, I don't know, exchange maybe. Receive exchange request. Now here, what kind of parameters we need? Well, actually, we need basically only the message. No, we need also the ID. Okay, yes, because when he comes back, we want to know to which question he said yes, obviously. So yes, we need also the ID, the unique ID of the question. Which I think is like automatically generated. I don't think we need the client number. I'm just thinking if we need this client number. Do we need to? Yeah, because multiple people can ask the same question at the same time. So yeah, I think we need it. I think it would be good to keep it. So it would be good to keep the. So let me just go and check this. And we can copy. I think we need exactly the same. I think we need exactly the same parameters. So the parameters will be the client number, which is just an ID, and for now it's okay. And then maybe we can just change it to, can we change it to the APS character so we have a pointer directly to the character instead of trying to go through the mess of IDs? I think yes, I think it's much better. We can still call it client num for compatibility with the past, but I think it's just so the question ID, which is the unique identifier of the question we are asking. Then this one we can just change it to an F string. I don't think we have any need to keep it like that. And question type, I think is good as it is. Did we give it a name? No, we didn't give it a name. Okay, nice. We need to give it a name. Where is it? No, it's not here. It's inside question manager, right? Yeah, it's the same. It's question type T, so I think it's good. I think it's good. Is exactly like we want. So it doesn't see question type T. The reason is that we don't have included here our question manager, which we need to include. And question manager is under, I think, server, right? Yes. Server / question manager.h. Okay, so now it should take this properly. And that's it. Okay. So this message now, so let's see if that compiles, first of all. I want to see if this one is compiling properly, and then we will get in our editor this message. we will get this message that we can call from the server side and then implement it in the client side. So just taking a drink. Okay, it's compiling. Finish compiling, okay. Finish compiling. So I think we need now to go. So it compiled successfully? No, it didn't. Yes, I think I need to have it outside a specific class. I don't think I can put it inside a class. I think it should be just before it. Cannot be inside because this class is actually not a U object, and so not being a U object, you cannot put it inside another U object. So I think that's the reason. Let me see. Yeah, it doesn't like it because okay, there are some reasons for this. First, this one should be pragma ones instead of this, because otherwise if there is an if and if, it doesn't like it because it doesn't know what is the actual condition that triggers the inclusion of that piece of code, and so that's why it cannot be inside this. Now the other error that I think we will receive is that we don't have a standard rearrange include. But let's see, I don't remember if you need to put on psunreal.h as an include in this file if you have at least one enumeration, let's say Unreal enumeration declared. Let's see. Same proceeding. Okay, seems to be going further with no errors for now. It's compiling. Yeah, we changed another include that is included in many places, and so for this reason it's taking more time, because it's an include that is common to many other places, I guess. Most of our viewers are coming from US, I don't know exactly why, so it is a bit of a weird time to stream, because most of them are still sleeping, or anyway it's very early morning. And as you may imagine, early morning on a Sunday is probably not the best time. Okay, now we're getting some errors here. I think we can just remove this and just have it as question type, and I think will be the same here. I think the enumeration should start, the name is not correct though, because I think the enumeration, if I remember right, should start with an E. If you don't have it starting with an E, I think it will not work. Don't ask me exactly why, but there is some checking that the engine is doing just to ensure that. So let's call it e question type. Okay, and let's change everywhere we add question type to this, because otherwise it will just not work. It's kind of in many places actually. But it is a good change anyway, because it will be needed in multiple places. I don't know what is this check for spam. We'll see. So I'm searching through all the open files. Okay, I think we catch them all, so let's try to recompile and see. It's building. Wow, it's taking a lot of time. Again, I changed many header files, so that's probably the reason. Okay, we still get a failed. Let me check why. Let me check why. Can I convert argument 13 from? Yeah, there are still a number. So everywhere we have this PS question message with an actual value, we should change it to this. Okay, let's go and see if we can change them all. It's a kind of a big change as well, and this will help us, you know, in the future, because there will be many places with I mean, other functions are using this enumeration, and so the fact that we did it now is good. Am I still live on YouTube? Because I don't see myself. Wait a second. Yes, I am. Okay. Good. Okay, we still have some errors here. PS question message. What is saying? Cannot convert argument 4 from e question type to PS question message question type. Okay, so you still have the old initialization somewhere. Yes, this one should become e-question type. Yeah, I forgot it in a few places. Okay, let's see. I will just recompile, because I think that error is generated by the previous error that we had. as I said, it's a bit early in the morning for US, so I think more people will join later is not a problem. And also there are people that are just watching the stream in the recording. By the way, I'm streaming live on YouTube and Twitch at the same time at the moment, so you can also in the future you can watch me in one of the other places, the one that you prefer. Okay, it's compiling. We still get a failed. We still get a failed. Let me see why. Find function checked. Illegal call to a non-static member function. What is this? Let's try to fix the other one first. Receive exchange request. Overloaded member function not found. Okay. Well, this one is just because it didn't yet generate the file, but this one is a bit obscure to me. It's saying error, overloaded member function not found. Yeah, but this one is because I think he didn't complete the introspection or whatever it's called, but is the only one that we have? Yeah, I think it's the only error, huh? So he cannot find receive exchange request. Sorry, but receive exchange request, we declared it here in player controller.h, and we declared it as blueprint implementable event, so obviously it doesn't need declaration. Maybe he cannot find this parameter and is a bit shy in telling us, but no, we included question manager, which is actually the place where we have declared our blueprint. Okay, so this one should be declared okay. I don't get what is the problem. So I have the declaration here, which should be fine. It's following the same syntax that we did in the others. This file doesn't give an error. This file is then included here in player controller base with server question manager, which is the right location. And then here we are implementing. Okay, let me remove this function for a second and see if everything else compiles. Okay, because maybe there are still some other errors that get shadowed by this error. So let's do it step by step. Let's see if at least the declaration of the question enumeration is correct. Yeah, that is because he finally did the generation. So and I had that file open in the editor, and so that what is triggering that message? What I have? Do I have anything wrong in this? I don't think I do. And I'm not calling it either yet, so they should not be, you know, they should be the only place where this function has been declared and called. So we didn't call it yet, but okay, let's see if without that function compiles properly. So at least we know that the enumeration has been converted properly. Right? What was that blip? No idea. Okay, succeeded. Okay. So at least our enumeration is correctly generated. Now let's see if I now add my U function. So we have APS character, integer, f-string, and e-question type. So all those types should be RPC enabled, let's call it. So there should be in theory no issue on that. We are changing plane shift player controller, so it takes time. Normal. No surprise. Still get the failed. Still get the failed. Or we have another function which is called exactly the same, illegal call to non-static member function. Receive exchange request, APS character, f-string, question type, not found. Okay, let me try to see if I'm doing something stupid for any reason. I'm just checking if I have other blueprint implementable events. I need the const, probably need the const. Yes, that's the problem. In fact, it says const f string end. Okay. On the f string, it needs the const end. Don't ask me why. But because it's generating it like this, and it's then not finding it like this. So I don't remember on APS character pointer if that's fine as it is. But yes, seems that the others are using APS character without any issue. So it should be fine as it is. By the way, I don't know exactly when, but I think we have today the players event in game. Yeah, we have the dev Q&A, but we have it in 4 hours. Okay, so we have it in the evening. In 4 hours only? So at 8? 8 is not correct. I think I have to change this. I think I have to change that. It's actually too early. Sometimes my calendar is just messing up the time and the dates. I don't know why. Okay, so let me check one thing. Haven't started 3 hours, 1 minute and 60 seconds ago. Now there is some messing up of the time zone here. The time zone is not correct because actually I started it only 1 hour ago. So the time zone reset. Okay. So just a second, I'm fixing this because I want to have the event with the right dates. So instead of 15, I should do 14 then. And let me just try to reschedule it, and we will see. It takes a bit to update, but I want to reschedule it. Yeah, and this one also should be 2 hours later then. So it should be 21. Dev Q&A, we call it just Dev Q&A. Should be event 35, I think. Not 100% sure, but yes, 35. Okay, this will refresh. Just to refresh the timing, because otherwise, is this having the same issue? I think this is having the same issue probably, but it's okay. Okay, so okay, one succeeded. Okay, now you see, now that I change it to const f-string ampersand, so it actually compiled properly. Okay, so we can call this function client side, and what we want to do, we want to open up a pop-up window asking for a yes and no. I think we have something like this already in our Unreal Editor. I think we already did something similar for other windows. Like I think it's called something like prompt window, something like that. So let me start up the editor. And so we will. We also have to call that method somehow, which we are not calling now yet, but it's okay. So the server side will have to call that method. Okay, it's loading up. It's loading up. So we placed it in Planeship Player Controller, right? Yes, so we will have to go through that. It's not anyway a multicast, but is just a normal message between one player and the other, so I think it's okay. So we can put somewhere in Planeship Player Controller, yes. Start, receive, merchant. Okay, I think we can put it just at the end of all these messages. We have so many now. We can group them. One day maybe we can group them by by functionality. But so here now, if I do something like receive exchange request, okay, here is our event that we just created in C++, right? Is exactly this one, right? So, and you see that we already have all the parameters that we need. So now, and also the type, we can also switch on question type, and you will see that we already have, we already have the right values in case. Now, what we want to do, so here we are still on the server side, okay? Because the event is triggered server side and stays on the server side. So the first thing we need to do, we need to move it on the client of that particular player. So we assume that we are inside the player controller of that particular player, right? So we need to create a client-side version of this, and so we will do add new event, add custom event, and we will call it receive exchange request on client, and this one will run on owning client. This is very important to select, and is reliable, otherwise will never work. And then we need, let's say, to add all the parameters that we have there. So for example, client num, which is an integer, and what is here? No, sorry, we said that is a reference to, so a PSK is a reference to a PS character actually. Okay, then we have our question ID, and this one is an integer, and then we have the actual question itself, which is just a string, and then we have the type of question, which is our new it's called e question something, no, e question type T, yes it is. Okay, so we mirrored all the parameters. So here from the server side we don't have anything else to do than call the receive exchange on the client, right? So that we switch from server to client and we basically arrive here, and here we can just connect all the parameters. Okay, so this will be our trade request. To another player. Okay, so now that we are here, we are now on the client of the player that we contacted, right? That we decided to trade with. So we are on his client. So the first thing I want to do, I would just want to print out something because it will be good just as a test, and we will print receive exchange request on client. Okay, so we will just type that, which is good for us to debug this code. And then what we want to do, we want to search in our library, because I think we have it already, a UI. I think we have a widget which is called like prompt something, window or pop-up or something like that. System banking character description chat win confirmation box. I think is this thing. Yes, there is just a question and yes or no. So I think that is what we need. It's just a confirmation box. Is there any others? Container exchange, friends, interact, item detail, loot, minimap. No, I think it's the only one. Okay, so this one is the one that we want to instantiate, right? So what we want to do, we want to add widget. No, sorry, no, we want to create widget. Okay, and the class will be our confirmation box. The owning player, I think, is self in this case, so I should not specify it again. Will be the current player controller. I can get it anyway. I can do get, well, we are here already, so I think it's fine. I don't think I need to get it again. So the default should be self, I think. And then we want to add to viewport this widget. So this will basically pop up that request. Will pop up that request for us with the given message. Now we need to be sure that we set the text of this guy. Let me check, how do I set the text? Let me close just a few things because there is a lot open at the moment. Okay, so let me check, how do we, there will probably be a setup or something. So event construct, Y pressed, button pressed. We don't set the text anywhere? Nice. Why? I don't see. Do we use it only for the quit? This is not nice though. We need to make this more parametric so that we can set up, you know, what it's doing. I don't understand fully what is this. N. So let me check the confirmation box, where is used in our code, okay? So win confirmation box. I'm searching in all the blueprints and I didn't find any. Interesting. Let me just search for confirmation. Nothing? Okay. So it seems that this window is not used at the moment. Seems this window is not used. Why is not used? Because I let me see if there is a prompt. I remember this prompt, I don't know why, but I remember a prompt window, no? No. Okay, it seems we are not using this in any way at the moment. But to me, and it was supposed to be used for the quit, but I don't think we... I can check, but when you quit, you just quit, right? It doesn't ask you for confirmation at the moment. I don't think so. I think it does in the old plan shift, but it doesn't do it now. It doesn't do it in the new one. I think I didn't delete the maps, and now the server is taking a long time to load up. Yes, you see it's loading all the maps. We have to remember to delete the necessary maps, otherwise it's taking so much to start up. Uh-oh, we only have a head. Okay, I think that's the reason is that Zwei changed yeah, Zwei changed all the characters, and I didn't adapt them yet to the new code. So at the moment, the only thing that shows up is a head. Okay, kind of funny. Let me see if I can join the game, even if we have only a head, floating head. Yes, I will be a floating head. It's pretty nice, though. Do I have an animation? No, I don't have an animation. I'm just a floating head on the ground. No, not on the ground. Well, yeah. I'm just this floating head at the moment. Why it goes down somewhere? Which, by the way, also got the wrong texture on it. That's pretty weird. Okay. Apart from being a floating head, what I wanted to check is when I quit, if I get a no, I don't get a confirmation. Okay, so I think the confirmation box at the moment is not used at all. Let me just delete from maps. All the ones that I don't use, because it's I think it's better like this. I prefer to have only the ones that are used, so that which are basically these ones, even less actually. We are using only Hidla main, but let's say all the others are just optional and blank, but they take time for the server to start up. So this one is not used. I think that we need a setup. You know, we need to call a kind of a setup function. So there should be a new event. Right, which is called setup window or something like that, or setup dialog, setup confirmation box. What is it? Confirmation box. Setup confirmation box. And well, for sure we need to know. Can we have a confirmation box only with a yes, or we want a confirmation box always with yes or no? Because it can be just a pop-up, you know. Ah, but the pop-up we are using already. Wait a second, because now something I remember something. We definitely have the pop-up when, for example, you're getting disconnected. Right? How is that called? I'm pretty sure we have it, because it's when you get disconnected, you get a message. Maybe it's called system message. No, system message is only this. No. We have. I'm pretty sure we have. I just don't know if we have it here or if is. No. I'm not seeing it. I'm a bit blind and I don't see it. You think? I mean, why I'm not seeing it? Maybe it's in another place. Maybe it's not been. It's not in here. It's somewhere else. Maybe it's here in the main menu. Ah, here it is. So yes, we have this one which is error pop-up. Ah, okay. We have this one which is error pop-up. Okay. You see, yes, this was the one I was remembering. Exactly this one. Exactly this one. So this one is a one click, you know, so it gives you the error of the message, and then you can just click on OK. So you cannot really choose anything. And this one for sure is used because it's, for example, when you cannot contact the server, or there is some issue in contacting the server. Now I think we can make one which is very similar, so I can probably just copy these elements, like the image, the button, the text, the error thingy, the message, and the I think I can copy like all of this and bring it to the, let me see if I can. If I do a copy, if I put it here in our confirmation box, I just go here and paste. Yes, I mean it kind of worked, not perfectly, but it kind of worked. The problem is that here we have a grid panel, while here we have a canvas panel. So here is an open, yeah. So let me get canvas panel and put it here. Why cannot go? If it's grid is grid, I mean there is no way to. Come on. There is no way to change it. Why? Because this is defined as, this confirmation box maybe is defined as a grid panel by itself. Let me check. Why I have it locked on grid panel? I mean I can cut it, but if I cut it I think everything will go away. Yes, which is not what I wanted. I just wanted to add a new item. So if I add a new canvas panel, you see I cannot drag it here, I can just drag it inside a grid panel. So I cannot move these things out for some reason. Do you know how to fix it, boys? Now we have 0. No, because I didn't want to change the buttons, because the buttons were already associated to this graph and already had some stuff, you know, so this is why I didn't want to completely destroy it, but I guess I will, because it seems that there is no way for me to change it. Appearance, coloring quality, foreground. Maybe here is one of this that is just setting it as a grid panel as a default, or I'm really missing something. Like, why I cannot add a canvas panel here like is in this one? This one is a error pop-up and then directly the canvas panel, right? What is the difference between these two? I don't get it too much. Okay, I think we would just delete it. At this point I will add one canvas panel, which I think I can, and I will paste Okay, let me see if I can move it now. Yes, I can move it now. Okay, so I have my two buttons, my image 0 and my text block. Okay, and the button OK I don't need, and okay, let me remove this now and let me try to copy paste again the elements from here, and let's see if this becomes a bit better. Okay, looks big, but I think it's just because he adapted to the external canvas panel, something like that. Here the canvas panel is taking the wall screen. Here the canvas panel for some reason is just taking a very small piece. Don't know why. 1280 by 720. Yeah, exactly. DPI scale 1.0, DPI scale 0.67. Why is it so different? Wow. I remember this, but at the same time I don't remember this. I think I did it, so when you set the screen size, there is something you have to do here. Screen size, you see it's custom. Why we have a custom resolution? I want to revert this to what it was, so I want to avoid saving it. How can I revert the changes? I should just do a refresh or reload from reload. Okay, reload. The following have been modified. You would like to reload the package with any changes? Yes, exactly what I wanted to do. Okay, this opened up. Okay, so this is DPI 067. Screen size at the moment is 720 televisions. Why is it like this? Television 720. Okay. Now, because I want to put myself in the same mode, you know, so that we don't mess up with the screen size. Yeah, this already seems messed up because the canvas panel is not going to the right. What is going on? Something bad happened. Let me try to compile it, save it, and open it again. Yes, I want to check out this one. So let me close it and open it again because it seems that something bad happened. Yeah, like I have like these things are not in the right place. In theory, those are the two buttons. There is the label at the top, but I would like to understand why if I take this there, it seems to be so messed up. You see that when I take the thing here, automatically, you know, it works properly as it should. That is the one that it works. While this one, if I take it from here, it really scales wrongly. No device safe zone set 1280 per 720. Device content scale 1.0. 916 instead of 69. What the hell? I have no idea why it's doing this. No idea why it's so... Okay, now seems a bit better. At least it moves together with this. Okay, now seems a bit better. Maybe there was this fill screen selected. Fill screen selected. Okay. So that was probably the point, huh? Okay. I had to select fill screen instead of custom, so it follows me. It follows the movement. Okay, so with that said, so what we want to do, we want to have do we want to have a text at the top telling which kind of window is it? No, I don't think so. I think in this case we don't want to have this, but we want to have for sure a text in the middle, which is this one, the error message. The image should go at the beginning, like here, so it's not getting into the way of the other things. The question text, I think we can remove it. This one can be the let's just call it message, txt message. The question text we don't need anymore, we can remove it. Let me just see what are these other small things. There is a text, okay, this one is fine. There is this image 0, which we don't need anymore, was the background we had before. So now I think we want to make these buttons similar as this thing, and we would like to be able to localize the text, or we do always yes and no. Maybe we do always yes and no, because there is a kind of a confirmation yes and no. Yeah, okay, I think that's probably the case. So I just want then to connect this code to the other code. So I think if I delete the button, I hope that this remains. This was a custom event on the button getting pressed. There is a button dispatcher, no? Button click dispatcher. I think he went away already. I can just do on clicked and that's it. I can just do an on click here and yeah, I think so. Okay, let's duplicate this. One we call it button yes. So let me update our mission though, because actually we are doing way more than was written there. So I think we should so we need to design a confirmation window, which is what we are doing now. Design a confirmation window. We should send back also the information, right? Okay, this is what we are doing now. Trying to design the confirmation window. So what I want to do, I want to have this button here. These two small buttons, I think we will delete. They are not needed anymore. So this one will always be yes, and this one will always be no. Does it look okay? Or does it look a bit awkward, this thing? How do we make it so it looks like this? Do you like it? I think we can leave it like this. So we can have a yes and no like that. Position Y 508. Okay, I think they are exactly in the same position. Okay. And yes, so the error message will be here in the middle. Oh, the error message, I mean the message. And here we will have yes and no. So what we want to connect the on clicked of button yes, and we want also to connect the on clicked of button no. Okay, now these are the two. So there was already some code, but I really don't get this code. I don't know what is this. And so what it was doing WD button no, bind event to click button dispatcher. Okay, so it was basically sending the event to the parent window. Yes, which I think we need to do anyway, right? Let me see if this thing compiles at the moment. Yeah, so where is this W button dispatcher? I don't see any dispatcher here, so usually we should have a dispatcher unless it's using understand what it's doing. Okay, so I understand now, because actually those two small buttons that I deleted, which are still here somewhere, they were of type WD button, and WD button as a dispatcher defined, so that's why. If you go under widget WD button, I think I would find it, yes, and this WD button should have a dispatcher. There it is, WD button, click dispatcher. So this is the one that we use for different icons in the game, but at the moment we don't need that sophistication for just a yes and no, because we are not gonna we're not going to customize the yes and no buttons so much. So it would just be a yes and a no. So this thing we don't need. This thing we don't need. The point is that we need to send back the information of the result, right? So depending on the type of, so at least the message we need to store. Yes, at least the message. So because when we will call this, as we have seen before, I will call it with a kind of a setup, because I need to do a setup. So this one will be, I think we said that there is a setup confirmation box. Yes, you say this function, and so we will have to do the setup first and then add it to the viewport. Right, and the setup at the moment is empty, but we will need to have at least the message as a minimum, but I think we also need to have the, why I don't have the properties? Ah, they are here, okay. So this will be message, and this will be an F string, and then what we need, and then we need the ID of the question, because we want to be sure that we send it back. So it's the same as we have in our code. We have the client, the question, and yeah. The client in this case is ourselves though, I think. So I don't think we need it. I think we just need a question ID. The question ID, the question, and the question type. I mean, the question type, we can keep it. I don't know if we really use it. Maybe graphically we can change slightly the UI in the future, but at the moment I don't think we need it. So it will be the question ID if it exists, which is an integer, and it will be then the message or the question, let's call it question because it's called question here. I think I feel more comfortable in calling it the same. And then we have also a question type. A question type which is of type enumeration question type, right? So good. So these are the three parameters that we need for our setup. Okay, makes sense. And then we need, so based on this, it will be pretty simple. We just get, you know, the text message, the two buttons. I think we can delete. I don't think we need these two variables anymore. I think we can just, can I delete it, or no, we are still in the UI somewhere. Ah, because they're still in the UI. Okay, I think we can delete these two. We can delete them, it's no problem. And we can now just check what we have. So this one is called txt message, this one is called button yes, this one should be called button no, so that we recognize them at least. And this one must be a variable, is already, and these two we really don't care to be variable, and these two we care. Okay, because basically if you flag on this is variable, makes the difference if you see it, you know, in the in this panel. So all of this I think we don't need anymore. I think I can delete all of this. It's not something for us. And I mean, it was done in the past, but we never used it, so I think I'm not destroying the work of anyone. And anyway, it's still in SVN if we really want. Now this one was the hypothetical setup, but also this one is not needed. So in the setup of the confirmation, we just need to store the question ID. So this n actually becomes question ID because we need to store it. And so the first thing that we will do, we will set the question ID of this panel equal to the question ID that is coming through the setup. And then the other thing we want to do, we want to get the text message, and on this one we want to set text so that our text message is getting the right question. And then we also want to keep the question ID, so the question type. So we need to create a new variable which will be question type, and this variable would be of the same type, so question type TP type, yes, this thing. And we want to set this one as well. Okay, so that all the parameters that are coming in our setup are then kept like this. Okay, so we have the setup of our box done, so which is good, and this will pop up, and this will pop up in the face of the player. We just need to be sure that we connect these parameters, so question ID to question ID, question to question, and type to type. Okay, so we just ensure that these are properly connected. And then we add it to the viewport. So, and it will have no way the only thing it can do is to click yes or no, right? There is no other possibility for him. And I think it is achieved by this border. This is why I think I had this border, because this border doesn't allow him to click anywhere else. You know, this border is something that you cannot click. Yes, I think so. So I need also this border. Copy. So let's put it here and paste. Yes, exactly. So that because otherwise it will be able to, you know, continue to interact with the rest of the game. Well, we don't want. We want this box, this pop-up to be a model pop-up, so that you can only click on yes or no, nothing else. Okay, so having done that, I think we can compile this and save. So what do we need to do when it clicks on yes or no? So actually we need to go back server side and send the result of this prompt, right? The way the code was doing it in the past, I think it was another message that was sent back. Let me check, but I'm pretty sure. I mean, there was a message going back, so he was setting the ISO. Where is it? Question manager. Question manager. So pending question. So it was handle answer. You see, there was this handle answer, which is okay. Is a virtual void, so is empty here because it's then inherited by another function. And this handle, if we search this handle answer, I think we will find question handle. Yeah, handle question response. There it is. Handle question response. So it is the one that is getting back handle question response. Yeah, subscribing to this message, and this message is us sending a question back. Okay, let me just see which kind of parameters he needs. He's searching the question ID, but he's also searching the question event. What is the question event? I'm a bit lost in this question event. What is a question event? Handle question response. Okay, so there is a message coming in. You're checking if the message is valid, and then he's checking the question ID. Okay, this all makes sense, right? But then questions get is the event that is on the question itself. So he stored it. Okay, he stored it in our question, in our pending question. So it's okay. So it's already handled for us. Don't know exactly what this will be, but I think it's fine. Pending question event. There it is. Question cancel event. Okay, there must be. Okay, it's probably the event to cancel it after a certain time. Okay, so what we will do under question response. So what we will do. We have to. I think we can call this function just changing the parameters. I think this one is the highest level. Yes, the highest level method in our hierarchy. So I think we can call the same. I think if I search this one, we have it. Yes, we have it in our question manager. So we should just change the parameters. The point is the point is that we have to go back to the player that started the discussion, right? This is why we need a PS character in it. This is why we need a PS, because we have to go back to him. So when we launch this send question, we said that instead of client num we will have yeah, the only point is that client num myself or the person I'm asking to? Because should be the target. Because I also need to know who I have to go back, you know, unless is registered into the question itself. Questions.add. Yeah, you see that is actually adding a question, and this question, is it having both the target and the player? The question at client. I mean, the question at client, okay, but how do I know then the guy that asked the question? Question at client. Yeah, question at client, okay, but question at client is fine, but then when I get back and I handle my question response, I mean, this client must be how does it find question ID, questions find, okay. Then it does question event, this keeps the cancellation timeout from firing, okay. Then it does question handle answer. Okay, let's just check what it's doing because I'm not very clear on this. Handle answer, come on, handle answer. Pending group chat. Okay, depends on the type of invitation that we had, okay, and that is okay, but where was the one of our exchange? I'm lost. Exchange manager. There it is. There it is. There it is. There it is. So APS character invited client. Okay, so this is the invited client. Pending invite handle answer. Character inviter client num. Wait a second. So it registers also the inviter client num. Exactly. So this was my point, right? So it must register somehow also this. Otherwise it will never work. So, okay, I think it's already handled properly. I was just trying to understand, but I think it's registering the target and the source, okay, in two different variables. One is client num and the other is inviter client num. So exactly when he's doing it, I don't know, but if we search for this in the current document, I think we will probably find it. No, we don't. So maybe he's not inside he's not inside this, but he's inside of this. No, okay. Where is this defined? It is defined in invite manager, which is another. Okay, it's defined in invite manager, which is a separate class, which I ported already, which is the good news. Yeah, there is a bunch of stuff done already for us. I mean, I think I can just run it, but yes, we will have to check all of this. But inviter client num is definitely there, and is an APS character. So okay, so I think is keeping the reference to our exchange, to the player we are exchanging with, so it's fine. I was just double checking, but I think it's fine. So and is keeping it server side based on the question ID. So the question ID is our reference, and then inside the question ID he has everything. So we don't need to keep, you know, on the client side or anywhere else the reference to the character, because he has it inside the question server side. So it's okay. It's okay. So what we have to send back at this point is only the question ID and the actual answer. Right? Let me see how he's treating the answer. So if I go question manager and I search again handle question response, yes, which is here. There is a message answer, and answer is an F string. So it's really going for a string. The string is probably just yes or no. I see. Yeah, just a yes. The answer is just a yes or no. It's just a brutal yes or no string. Okay. Good. No problem with that. No problem with that. We can cope with this. Okay, and okay, so I think we need a function again on the player controller, which is sending back the answer. So that one I think would be at this point the blueprint callable will be on I think on player controller is perfectly fine, so it's not a problem. So send back the answer of the trade request. Okay, now should we make it generic so that for everything? Yeah, I think we should make it generic, because it's all based on the question ID. So yeah, I think similar of the request. Can be trade or any other. In our case it's trade, but I think it can be any other. So we need something like that. So we need a U function, blueprint callable, category. Well, this one will be a bit generic though. This one is not character, is not quest, is not anything. Is maybe, I don't know. Maybe is interactions. Yes, maybe it's PS interactions, which can be okay. So it's PS interactions, and this one will be called send answer or something like that. Send answer. Yeah, send answer. And what we need to do is just to have an int, which is the question ID, and the actual answer, which is an F string. So that's it. Right? Just checking if I need the usual and no, I don't need. Okay, I don't know. Something is passed one way, something another. No, it's okay. So like this, I think is fine. So this one will be implemented here right? Implemented in PS character controller, and so this one will be implemented in Planeshift player controller base. Yes, here. And let me just spam the log just for fun, because we want to know where we are going, what we are doing. So we want to type here send answer, and this one we'll have to call our question manager. Our question manager handle question response, right? Yes. So question manager, I think I should already have it. Now the point is that we need to change the parameters of that function, because as it is, let me see if I have question manager. Yes, I have it. Fantastic. Fantastic, boys. Absolutely insane. Okay, so we have that already. Now, which parameter we need? We said is the question ID and the exactly the same parameters. So I have to pass in the question ID and the actual answer, nothing else, right? And so I need to change the signature of that method under question response in my question manager to be that, and I don't need the client anymore. So it will be like this, and it will be like this. Okay, now that we did this, our question response message here doesn't make any sense anymore, so this one will be removed. Maybe we can just do a check for sanity that question ID is not like less than 0 or less than, yeah, that is like a negative number. Because I mean, being an integer, it would never be. What does it mean that the declaration is incompatible with in question ID? It's exactly the same, man. I copy pasted the signature, so I say that it's not compatible. Okay, so I think I'm still thinking to the previous version of it, I think. So here what we can do, we can remove this. We can just say if question ID is less than 0 or answer is empty, right? So if there is no answer or something, then we have an error, right? So then we got an error of some kind. So we got spam back instead of getting something meaningful. So we get garbage in. So in that case, I don't know exactly which kind of message we can send, but I think this should just be a log. I don't think we can send it to a client, you know. I think something bad failed here, so it will just time out on the client, but on the server maybe we can type it, and we can say failure to pass the question response and then question ID. I will just say this. I would just say this, which is probably enough, right? Okay, so this we did. It's just a basic check for a sanity check that the data is proper. Then we want to find the question that we got the response to. So pending question, find response, find question ID. Okay, so in this case, we should just remove message, and this will find the question on the server side that we asked. We have a log here which is just saying if not question, received everything from the client, it was not questioned. Yeah. Yeah, we don't have the client here, but let me just keep it as this, which I think is okay. Then we call handle answer with the actual string, which is our answer, and then we remove the question from our question list. Okay, so when the client receives the answer, then we can just remove it from the list. Okay, and then here we also delete question. Well, it will be deleted anyway, but if you want to delete it explicitly, okay, fine. Fine. Okay. Okay. So, okay. Let me see. Do we have all the pieces, or question manager and the request and the response? No, we need to compile this, and then on here. Yes, we have to do this job. So let me close the editor. One file needs checkout. Yeah, check out what you need to check out. It's not a problem. It's not a problem, boy. Okay, so we save the editor. Then what we do, we go here and we just recompile. So we recompile here from Visual Studio. So we get the new handle question response on the client side. I mean on the editor side, and from there we just have to connect it. So pretty simple. Pretty simple. Okay, compiling, just give it some time. Don't panic. Everything is going fine. Okay. It's taking a bit as usual because we added a method to player controller. That's the reason why you see taking it so much. Because that class is inherited anywhere, everywhere. Okay, it's building. Compilation downtime. What should we do during the compilation, boys? Should we play a video game while it's compiling? There is a small bit of time, but if you sum 1 minute plus 1 minute plus 1 minute, it's taking time. It's taking quite some time. Blah blah blah, generation. Okay. One failed. Why? Question manager and the question response cannot access protected member declaration. Okay, because yes, as a default, these methods were declared as protected, I think. And yes, you see, we just have to move this method up here in public. Yeah, because in the old system we had kind of a subscription model where each manager was subscribing to a specific message. So for example, exchange manager was subscribing to all the trade and exchanges, and then there was one method handling the arrival of the message, and based on the type it was dispatching it to the different managers. And then the handle methods were protected because they were called by the first method, by the method that was just like dispatching, you know. So that's why, but it's as designed. It was really as designed. So now it should be fine. It should compile. So as soon as it compiles, we go in the editor, and in the editor we just call this new method that we created. Okay, and we pass in the response. Still one failed. Still one failed. One unresolved externals. Why? One unresolved external. He's saying that Planeship player controller base send answer. Is not there. I think I implemented it, no? Stupid me. Boys, you should check me, because I'm doing some. You should check what I'm doing. Here there was just this one missing. Okay, fine. Fine. Yeah, it was not seeing this method as part of Planeship player controller. It was seeing it as a kind of an external method, you know? So that's the problem. But it's fine. I just have to do one quick, very quick phone call, like 1 second, so I will go on mute and just call one person quickly, because I have to understand if tonight something I have to do tonight. Just 1 second. just needed to know what I was gonna do this evening. And so boom, 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 boom. What we were doing? Ah, yes, we were here. A lost way, by the way. So we are going to send. So now it is one succeeded, you see, because I just changed that. So we can launch the editor at this point, and we will have our new method, client side. I mean in the editor. I don't know why I say client side when I mean the editor, but anyway, the editor. So we will have the method there, and we can finally call it from our UI. The method will be on PlaneShift player controller, and we just need to ensure that we do the usual trick that moves from client to server, because otherwise it will not work. So we will have a method here, PlaneShift player controller. Okay, so this is our trade request. This will be then the answer to the request. So if we search send answer, you see this one is our method that we want to call. But to do this, we need first of all a new event, which is called server side. This will be send answer, let's call it on PC. How do I call it usually? I call it no, receive, no. When I send back an answer request, it usually is a request, ask the server to purify. The problem is that we are sending back an answer, calling it request. I don't know if I really like it. Cast spell on PC. Yes, like this. Cast spell on PC. I think we can call it like on PC. Yeah, let's call it on PC. So send answer on PC I think is fine. This one should be server side and reliable. Otherwise it will not work. And yeah, so from the client we are going here, which is server side in asynchronous mode, and then we call this function. Okay, so this function should have the same parameters, mainly question ID and answer. So question ID, which will be an integer, and answer, which is an f string. Okay, these two we just connect. Fine, then we compile this one, and finally in our window, which is our win confirmation box, now from the clicking the yes and clicking the no, we can call that function. Okay, so we have to get the current player controller, and so we need something like get player controller. Let me copy it because I'm lazy. Yeah, get control, get, no, come on, yeah, this one, like get player controller. So this, so we get the current player controller, and we cast it obviously to PlaneShift player controller, and then we can finally call our send answer on PC. Okay, now the parameters is our question ID, which we have here stored before when the message arrived, and then the answer. In this case the answer will be yes, because we just pressed the button yes. Then exactly the same will be for the no, with the difference that the answer will be no. Okay, okay, so we have the setup of the box, we have the ability to click yes or no to send back this message. This message will go to player controller, which is here, and we'll call it on the server side. The server side is here based on, we'll come here, we'll arrive here. Maybe we can also add the question ID here. Question ID %d, and we can add question ID. So yeah, because I just want to see if we get a valid answer back. Okay. Yeah, I'm interested to see if we get something good there. And then what we do, we call this handle question response, which is in question manager. And this one, based on the question ID, it finds the question ID in this array, in this tmap, whatever it is, and based on the question is actually sending the answer to the player. Okay, let's try to test this because we did a lot of changes, and actually I'm not really sure if that will work or not. So we need to, yeah, we need to test it a bit. I think I can launch the server and the client and see what happens. We need 2 clients, obviously. So we'll connect as Cranny Cran. He's only ahead at the moment, as I said. But it's okay, we will do the change as well later on. So we connect with this guy, and we connect another client with another player. Now when I right click, I don't remember if I connected it, let me check. When I right click on the interact UI, did I connect it? Probably not. Probably not. Let me see. Interact. Where is the interact UI? When interact UI, there it is. So when we right click, we get the context menu, and the context menu is launching, well actually yes, because it's launching start exchange message. Start exchange message, which is calling start exchange. It's calling start exchange, and start exchange is let me see, because I think we missed one step. Start exchange is not here. Why is not here? Because it's on the character. Okay, okay. It's on the character. Fine. Fine, 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 fine. So here, there it is. Start exchange. So start exchange does this. It's just checking if he's a player or an NPC. Then it goes into exchange manager start exchange, and I want to see if it's correct. Probably yes, but and here is doing all the checks needed, distance, not distance, blah blah blah. And okay, and he sends the question. Okay, perfect. And he sent the question. So we should arrive there. We should arrive there to send question. Now the problem is that in the editor I still left I still left the rest, which is this one, which I should remove then, because actually we just want to send the question, but we don't want to display the Exchange UI yet. We want to display it only if the player selected yes. So unfortunately this part is actually wrong. I mean, he has to be disconnected, and he has to go in somewhere else, in another message that will, in another message that we received after the confirmation that we want to trade. Okay, because this is when we, but unfortunately at the moment we don't have it. But let's just test it and see, even if the exchange window will pop up, which is fine. Which is absolutely fine, boys. So we connect with another client. We connect with another client, and which is also a head, but a different head. And we search the other guy. Where is the other head? I don't see it. I see it. Hello, head 1 to it. Hello. Hey man. Yeah, it's very slim. So at this point I want to click on this guy. Hopefully I can. Can I? Yes, I can select it. I've selected this guy. I right click. Okay, right click, you see that I have the context menu for the player now, and this icon is the one for the trade, so I click it, and apart from the fact that it pops up the exchange, which is wrong, we should get, but I don't see, unfortunately, on the server side. Okay, let me see if on the server side we got the request, at least. So we got a start exchange. We got a start exchange, which is good, but then we got could not find client ID, blah 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 blah. So somewhere there is still some old code in the way, I think. There is still some old code in the way. Start exchange. Which is an exchange manager, we said, right? Yes, I think it's here. I think it's probably inside this one, inside this exchange check. No, I think we need to debug it client server side to see what's happening, because in theory we should arrive here, and we didn't arrive here. Well, we did arrive here, but then some parts of the code which is a bit long to debug, I mean just to read, I mean I think it's better to just launch it in debug mode and see what happens. Target client probably is one of this thing is set exchange ID, exchange get ID. Trying to understand where we are, but okay, so let's try to follow it. We have to debug it, because otherwise it's too complex to just read the code and try to understand where is the error. So we have to redo it, but with the Visual Studio on. So debugging, so I just press F5 and I launch it in debug mode. So it is running while in debug. I think I will stream also this evening, most likely. So this player-to-player exchange will have a lot of streams, but it's fine. I think I will probably stop in a few and reconnect this evening. Let's just do this debug and see. Yeah, the heads. We only have the heads. I don't know why, but I will see. I didn't even check. I don't care at the moment. I mean, to me, it's just a player, so I don't care. Oh, it did it in hot reload. Holy fuck. Okay. Okay, let's see. Maybe it works better. Now with Visual Studio 2017, seems that a lot of stuff works better. So maybe it's good enough. Okay, we want to see if the start exchange is actually... I didn't compile this one though, crap. I cannot save it because the server is starting. Okay, it's okay. I don't care. I will save it later. Okay, the server started, I think. Yes, it's up and running. So the clients we can just launch normally. We don't need to debug the clients. We just, because the message client server for sure goes there, because we see the start exchange. We just have to understand what's happening after that. Yes, all the heads are there, so we are good. We only see the head, but all the heads are in good shape. Yeah, I think I will do a work on the character very soon. I just I wanted to finish this, but then I think I will work on that. Okay, head 1, head 2. Boom. Okay. So I have this guy selected. I right click. Okay. And you see we arrive here, okay? So we need to understand what's happening. Checking the distance. The distance seems to be fine. All other preconditions fine. He's checking if he's a player or an NPC. He understands he's a player because he goes inside of this. He's checking he's not myself. He's checking if he's frozen. He's not frozen. He's checking the exchange ID. It should not be in an exchange. Okay, perfect. So at this point, he sends me the question, right? So it goes here, it goes here, it goes here, and it should start. It should try to send me the. Here we still have a mess though. Here is the piece of code that we have old. Okay, that is still old. Okay, we didn't convert this yet. This is when we are actually sending the question. Now, okay, let's stop everything because this is the piece. At least we found it. So I can just quit. I can also compile and save this. Okay. So now, yes, this was the old way, right? This was sending the message to the client. And now, to send the message to the client, we have nothing else to do then, but we need to know to which client. We need to know to which client. So we need, yeah, the client I think is question client num. So the question client, yeah, exactly. So we go question client num. And then we get the controller of this guy, and the controller should be a Planeship player controller base. enter. And then on this one we call what was it? Send request. No, what was it? Was send request something? We call is the thingy. This one, receive exchange request. Okay, so yes, so we call this one receive exchange request. Receive exchange request, and in terms of parameters, we need to pass in. It is totally useless, but we will pass it anyway. I think we should remove this parameter because we are not using it. Decline num. Come on, boy. The question ID. The actual question. And the question type, which at the moment we are not using, but we may use in the future, you know. Okay, so and all of this can go away. Send request to the question at client. Okay, and then is adding the question to the list of questions, and what is this piece of doing? This piece is a problem because this piece is basically the expiration of the request after 60 seconds. Yes. So it is done because if for any reason we are not answering to that, like we are AFK or we don't receive it or whatever, the request is anyway going to expire after 60 seconds. The problem is that to be able to do this, we need to convert this guy to an Unreal Engine event, which will take a bit of time, not much but a bit. So for now I think we should just ignore it. I will put, I mean, just for the sake of this test, and we just do, wait, no, this one we keep it. We just do something, you fix me, temporary commented, this is the timeout of the request, convert to EU event. Okay, so this one we will just comment completely. And by the way, this was our error, couldn't find the client. It is the error that we received. Okay. It is the error that we received. So okay, boom. Okay, let's compile this and let's launch it again and see if now we get the pop-up. So the point will be to be able to get a pop-up with the request on the client side, right? That is what we want to reach. The fact that one client is getting a pop-up message asking, do you want to trade? Yes or no? And by the way, this mechanism will be pretty much the same for all the other questions that we will have to ask to players. So the stuff that we did here will be valid also for all the other pop-up boxes. So not too bad. So we can reuse this part for other similar cases. Okay, log it in. One client, always two clients. We need always two clients. cranny head. And this guy. Okay. So I click on him. This exchange window we don't need. I click on him. It's already selected, by the way. Why is it already selected? No idea. Okay, I click on him, right click, boom. Let's assume that he goes. And I get my pop-up. Look at this. Do you want to trade with Cranny Cran? Okay, at this point, I say yes. And here it says you agree to trade. Okay, the window is not going away yet, but yeah, but at least we get the pop-up and the window doesn't disappear. We need to make it disappear. Maybe we need to make it a bit smaller. It's a bit, I mean, it's kind of huge at the moment. Do you want to trade with Cranny Cran? I mean, it's like a big question, but it's fine. We just have to when we click, to have it just go away, and then see if we receive the yes on the server side, right? On the server side, I think you should have received something. And you see we have some errors now. Question ID is coming as 0. Maybe we didn't connect something. I don't know. We have to check that the question ID is okay. Okay, but for now I think we achieved a good result. I like it. So I will stop the stream here because I have to go. But hopefully I will be here after dinner in the evening, and we can continue this and have just a few pieces more done. But we did some progress, huh? We made some progress, so which is good, So with that said, I think, well, can we update our mission? So to update our mission, this piece we did, add in a context menu icon, send exchange request message to the target player, that is done. Design a confirmation window, that is done. Now we need to, yeah, this is a bit generic, port the code for player-to-player exchange, but you know, maybe we can change this. Design a confirmation window. Yeah, let's say we have to, yeah, this port the code, I don't like it. So is ensure, so design confirmation window. So send a request to trade, which is what we did now. Then receive yes, no answer, and pop up exchange window, and execute exchange. Well, this will be also the ability to drag items from inventory to exchange window, but it is basically done. We know that this one works already, okay? So it's just logically one of the steps, but this one works already. And then we need to display the trade agreed on both sides, you know, which is the green mark, which is this green mark that you see here in the bottom right, and then execute the exchange, and then execute the change. Yes. There is the list of stuff that we still need to do to complete this part. I mean, there are a lot of steps actually. I mean, it's not super easy. There are a lot of steps, because there is all this back and forth between client and server, and all these you know, confirmations that you have to send. So is yeah, I just wanted a bit more spacing to have a better window. And so when we arrive here, so this one I think we can already flag it. This one we know that works already. Now the send request to trade, I think we did. The send request to trade we did. And display, you know, and display the request, and display the request. Receive a yes no answer is what we have to test next. So test next. Okay. Okay, boys. Okay. So let me save this. With this, I will see you later on. Bye bye.